Well, I thank Barbara David, friend and colleague of the past times, together with Roberto Pitracci, that I found here after years spent in underwater excavation, and thanks to Flavio Nei. Today, although I'm also an underwater archaeologist, I will present you some finds connected to the underwater research from art excavation that I conducted in this extended villa in the Roman suburb from 1998 to today with my colleague Riccardo Frontoni on behalf of the Archaeological Park of Appia led by Rita Paris. I apologize right now for my terrible English, but I'm not a mother tongue one. The Villa of the Quintili is a public archaeological area at 5th mile along the Via Appia, a few kilometers away from the center of Rome. The Special Archaeological Superintendence of Rome, today Archaeological Park of the Appia, has acquired this area in 1985. Since 1998, 4 excavation campaigns have been realized during which the main areas of the villa have been defined. This suburban residence was built on a promontory formed by the lava of the Colli Albani south of Rome, and it was built by the wealthy family of the Quintili, a family of Greek origin, who wrote a treatise on agriculture in Greek language. The origin of these two characters already implies an Oriental culture that manifested itself in the decoration of the villa. This is a series of slides to show how much we dug. We have excavated both with the excavator or by hand, obviously in a stratigraphic way, and the site as it was and how it looks today, with some images taken from the top by the drone, also with snow, and an example of a laser scanner survey of the entire villa. The attribution of the residence to the brothers Sextus Quintilius Condianus and Sextus Quintilius Valerius Maximus, both consul in 151, has been made possible thanks to a discovery by Antonio Nibbi in 1829 of lead water pipes with the names of the two brothers. They were both known for their culture, military skills, wealth, and brotherly love. After killing the two brothers and their families in 182, the luxurious villa became an imperial property under Emperor Commodus. It justified the impressiveness of the wall structure and the extraordinary wealth of marble liners. It remained imperial property until at least the 3rd century. In the following centuries, the residential complex was gradually abandoned and became a quarry of materials with theft of artworks. During the Middle Ages, some areas closer to the Appian Way were fortified for control. Several furnaces for the production of limes from marble fragments can be dated from the Middle Ages to the Renaissance. Today, the public entrance is located on the Appia Nuova, but once it could be entered from the Via Appia Antica, ancient Appia, near the monumental Nymphaeum, a scenic fountain built by Commodus on the main way to Rome, transformed later into medieval custom. The main sectors of the villa that can be identified are the following: Basis Villa, areas with the structure C, carved building Ludus F, gardens with porches T, thermal bath area DEL, private residential sector B, and representative sector AR, tuxistoi covered arcades for running and walking, ZX, that closely resemble the Greek Hellenistic Garden of Vitruvius, water supply GPQ, great in Fenrich. Behind the Frome, the main nucleus of the villa was located, which was entered through a large hippodrome-shaped garden for horse riding. Great water reservoirs supplied the whole complex through an aqueduct inside. A branch of the other aqueduct, called the Quintili, arrived to the central area and the small bath. A north-south oriented circus S, which is visible from aerial photos, has recently been excavated in the northern part, where the carceres, the horses' starting cages, have been highlighted. So here you can see the main building phases realized with different construction techniques, highlighted only in the central core of the villa, which are the faces of Trajan, Hadrian, Antoninus Pius, Commodus, and Septimius Severus. The original nucleus of the villa is dated based on brick stamps at the Trajan Adrianic era, first half of the 2nd century. Here, brick stamp of 123. But under the emperors Septimius Severus, Severus Alexander, and Antonius Gordianus, a lot of building interventions were made, which are still visible today. Besides the study of the brick stamps, the result of the study of earthquakes in Rome are interesting in relation to the construction phases. Every important period for reconstruction, in fact, seems to refer to a strong earthquake documented by the literary sources. Under the stratigraphy made of ashes fragments and of mortar and cement fragments of the roof, it has been brought back to light a glass furnace in the corridor connecting the thermal area and the theatre, with traces of glass processing and many fragments of raw glass. The furnace is made of square blocks of tuffo, preserved for a single row, partly above and partly cutting the mosaic floor dating back to the Adriatic period and leaning against the marble cladding of the walls, a fundamental element for the dating before the spoliation of the villa. It's made in 2 consecutive rooms with traces of glassy shards without the original covering. In the first quadrangular chamber, along the walls are visible traces of vitreous fragments that were fused on 2 distinct levels. Probably the small visible ceramic fragments belong to the crucibles used in the first phase of cooking. I remind you that the composition of the glass is between a silicon oxide, sand, and a flux-like sodium carbonate, which allows the mixture to melt at lower temperatures and at the same time makes the glass much longer malleable. Alkali may be of mineral, soda, or vegetable origin, soda and potash. Plinio Vecchio in the Naturalist Historia tells us how it was discovered by definitions. The second chamber is narrower and has an underlying channel for the fire. The glare of the glass on the flat bottom is visible. In a volute lamp from the mid-1st century from Voghera, Ferrara, a double-chamber glass furnace in bas-relief is visible. The first medieval kilns seems to have a single chamber. In Roman times, glass furnaces are often circular, rarely rectangular like this. A comparison can, however, be made with a rectangular oven with a small adjacent room similar to ours, found in Augusta, Raurica, Switzerland, active between the end of the 1st and the 3rd century. Certainly, all these glassy lamps found near the oven were melted in the oven. The problem is in defining the possibility that it is a primary oven. but they were distributed along the Syrian-Palestinian coast and Egypt for the retrieval of raw materials such as natron and plant ash. But there are not even elements to attribute it with certainty to the ovens for cooking or even for the blowing of glass, although some suggestive fragments of clay found in the excavated layers would seem to belong to the impression of a blowpipe. From the blown glass cylinder could be obtained flat window panes as found in fragments in the excavated layers of the villa. A coarse dot bowl of 15 cm in diameter and 18/8 in thickness of 1 cm apoda, this, containing a brown-red earth, was interpreted at the time of discovery as a crucible. The content, composed of iron oxide that were attached also to the raw glass like those found in the oven of Abenches, Switzerland, already active in the 1st century, was analyzed. The glass is rich of sodium, typical of the Roman period. Further information can be found in the conference proceedings on the archaeology of production that took place in Rome in 2014. At this point, also the wreck of a transport ship discovered in the Mediterranean basin provide us with important elements that shed light on the traffic and the contextualization of hourglass. This is a plan with the location of glass furnaces in Italy. And this is the distribution of shipwrecks with glass, both raw and in finished forms. A case in point is the wreck of Wessenbier in France, Var, dated between the end of the 2nd and the 3rd century, or that of Cape Glavat in Croatia. From the analysis, it was found that, in addition to the blue glass, also the deliberately whitened antimony glass is similar to that of Pompeii, coming from the Palestinian area, Belus, Haifa, see Plinio, Naturalis Historia, 2665. This is of the Villa di Quintili. Other analysis carried out by the University of Calabria with Professor Mauro La Russa has also involved the polychrome glass past tesserae found in the volume of the polychrome of the layers excavated in the large thermal halls of the villa, with the combined use of spectroscopic techniques and microanalytics, together with the XRPD analysis, it was possible to determine a complete compositional characterization also based on colorants and opacifiers. Most of the tesserae have the composition of the natron glass characteristic of Roman glass. As for the red and orange tesserae, these have a composition with mixed alkali with lead, with higher levels of magnesium oxide, phosphoric anhydride, and potassium peroxide, referable to the use as ash fondant of plants rich in sodium for red glass, and natron ash of plants for the orange glass. Some shells found in the sands used for the tesserae as report the origin to the Palestinian coast. In conclusion, so the data from the analysis confirm once again the continuous exchanges between East and West, not only in macroscopic way, as can be the setting of the garden in the Greek way, a sort of gymnasium, This is the plan of the Villa de Quintili compared with the representation on a Greek Hellenistic garden according to Vitruvius, or macroscopic, such as the routes of the transport of marbles coming from the imperial quarries distributed in the Mediterranean basin. Here you can see the analysis of the white marble. Or white marble discovered in the villa with the provenance, Pentelico, Colcinum, Proconnesium, Aphrodisia, Paros. But we can also evaluate the exchange at the microscopic level, hidden in the composition of the glass that adorned the windows and the ceilings of the baths of the villa. Thank you for the attention.
Thank you very much. Very interesting for us, and